Hi, this is Erica Norton, and I'm the founder of Perfect Legal Video. I am so happy to have with us today Attorney Nicole Reeves Lavallee. She owns a real estate and family law firm in the Worcester area, and we are very fortunate to have her with us every single week, giving us tips and tricks in these areas of the law that save us lots of anxiety and trouble and money and time. And we appreciate you. Welcome to the show, Nicole.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So today we are going to revisit a topic that, I'm not going to say near and dear to my heart, but I mean, I know a lot of people unfortunately have had to deal with this, and that is restraining orders. So we'll be talking about this fun topic, and let's just go into the definition. A lot of times we like to start these interviews with the definition. So what is a restraining order?
A restraining order is an abuse prevention order. It's a way to prevent, hopefully, another party from abusing you physically, sexually, emotionally.
So I would imagine with the type of law that you handle, with family law, there's just a lot of, emotions are running high. There's a lot of different dramatic situations going on, and sometimes children are involved. I imagine that that is, perfect potion for possible restraining orders in some cases.
It is. I mean, unfortunately, tensions definitely get higher, especially when a relationship is breaking up, whether, it's just a parenting, two people that are living together and cohabitating, or your marriage is breaking up for whatever reason. Tensions run high, emotions run high, people get verbally abusive very quickly. How dare you have an affair on me? And then everything's escalating, and the children are involved, and it becomes quite nasty quite fast sometimes. And, obviously the goal here is to make sure that we can hopefully temper that for a period of time. Sometimes it has to be indefinite, but temper it and give people the time and space that they need to kind of regroup and act more like adults.
I mean, that's a really nice way to put it because things do get a little crazy for a while. And I just remember well, like, when I went through my divorce, and they do in Massachusetts anyway, they do make you go through a class when you have children. And during that class, one of the things they talked about was the seven stages of grief and how not everyone goes through those seven stages of grief in the same order. And sometimes you go back and revisit one of the stages, and your spouse or your partner might also be going through it in a different order than you. And it probably is, because the likelihood that everyone's feeling everything the same way is very unlikely. And so you're just at different stages. So when somebody is going through that anger phase and you're in the sorrowful stage, I mean, that's just a huge difference of, where you are and how you feel. And, sometimes things come out violently, threateningly, and, it may make somebody feel like they're in danger.
Exactly. And when somebody's, again, like you just said, somebody's in the, okay, I'm getting over it stage, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to actually, have a life now, that sometimes brings up even more anger now, because how dare you? You should be all about me. I can't believe you're moving on so fast. Why are you doing this to the children? And so, again, that's where the emotions kind of bubble over. And, the good thing is it's there for a reason. It's there so that we can hopefully, like I said, temper that, control the situation. Nobody ends up in court, criminal court. Nobody ends up with criminal charges pending, but certainly gives those parties the space that they need to go through those seven stages.
I guess what I'm going to ask you now is when you are I guess when you're dealing with this, have you ever looked at like what are the clues or the hints that something is about to bubble over and turn into a situation where someone might need a restraining order?
Um, that's such a loaded question. I guess can be answered about a million different ways. It really depends on, again, what you know. What does that family dynamic sound like? I'm Italian. I'm going to get loud. I'm going to get loud regardless of whether or not I need a restraining order or not. That's just my personality. Where if you have somebody who's really quiet and really soft spoken, the moment they start acting a little bit different, you might second guess it. That might be a trigger for them. So it kind of depends on the family dynamic and who that person is and how they act. But obviously, anytime you see this, you're going to expect a reaction. Anytime you hear somebody's kind of going at you or trying to grab you, those are obviously real indicators. But, can you predict? Unfortunately, it's one of those things that you have to kind of go, how well do I know this person and what will tip them off? Because we all know we have trigger points. And the question is, you want to be in a situation where you're not engaging in those triggers. How can you personally take a step back and remove yourself from that situation so that it doesn't escalate? And sometimes that requires you to go, you know what, I'm just not even going to be here when my ex gets home, because I know we're not in a good place right now. I know it's a volatile situation. Maybe I'll come in when he's in bed. Something like that will just diffuse the situation. So there's ways that you can go about it. Obviously, maybe coming home with a brother or sister with you, or family friend. They're less likely to make a scene when you have a third party there.
I mean, and those are good points. I mean, obviously, don't come home after having a date and expect that your soon-to-be ex-spouse is going to be happy about that. That might be a trigger. And maybe it's not. Maybe they don't care anymore. Maybe they don't care right now, but then their feelings changed because they're in a different stage of the grieving process. So, they're definitely, you do definitely know if you've been with someone for a little while what a lot of those triggers are. And some people are pushing those buttons on purpose.
Absolutely. And again, we're talking about it obviously in a divorce or breaking up situation, but it could be a family member. You could be a parent, or it could be a sibling of yours that is going through this. Again, we don't know what emotionally charges people. So it doesn't have to be a sexual relationship. That's when it most likely occurs. But it can certainly be a family relationship where you're going through with, your parents are living there and they're abusive to you. So it's a lot of different situations that can come into play that can give you that protection.
So, what is the process to getting a restraining order, and how long do they last?
So the process is relatively simple. You have to go to the courthouse and you fill out forms. There is quite a few forms, but realistically, depending on how much you need to say or how verbose you are, it can take you anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour to fill out the paperwork. You have a safe advocate that's there that's usually helping you when you're stumbling and what's the thing should I focus on? I don't understand. What am I looking for? So the answer is we need to prove to the judge why you're in imminent fear of bodily harm. That's the standard. So as long as you can show imminent fear of bodily harm in your words, both in writing and to the judge, then that's what likely is going to grant the restraining order. So what happened? Well, he was yelling at me. Well, maybe that's not good enough words. What was he yelling? Was he calling you names? Was he, physically in your face? Was he 2 inches from your face? So these are words that you want to be able to articulate. And again, you have to do it both in writing as well as verbally so that the judge can get a sense. If somebody's just yelling at me, he's screaming at the top of my lungs, different story, right? So you want to choose your words carefully. And be accurate. Obviously, you're signing this in the pains and penalties of perjury, so you want to be 100% truthful, but you need to give information. Is there text messages that can support your position? Are there things of that nature? So you go in, you fill out the forms, then you go in front of the judge, and you're going to go in front of the judge ex parte, which means just me. I'm the only one that's there. I'm going to tell the judge exactly what happened, and the judge is going to read my written document. And the judge will probably ask me questions in addition to the written document. And then he's going to make an order. And if he issues an order, then it will be good in place for 10 days. At that 10 days, Everyone needs to come back if you want it extended. So ultimately, when you come back, your ex will be there and they will have to say why they don't want the restraining order. And the judge will listen to both sides and the judge will make a determination. Ultimately, if the judge rules in your favor, he can enter it for anywhere from 30 days up to a year.
So let's talk about people that might be just trying to get someone else in trouble, and they may actually be lying. I mean, I've heard of people lying in order to keep the parent away from the kids because there's a restraining order and they have the kids so that they can get more child support. I mean, does this happen or is this just something I'm thinking of from a movie?
It's not necessarily related to the child support, it's more related to I want custody. These are my children. You don't take care of them. You don't want them. You just want it so that you can get your child support reduced. And I'm going to make sure you never see your kids again. And that's the mentality. So there is a lot of that going on. And the courts do see that. And that's why generally when a court issues a restraining order only for 30 days or 60 days, they're kind of going, go to probate court, resolve it in probate court, and stop the nonsense. And a lot of times it is nonsense. Sometimes it's legitimate, but again, there is people that use this as a tactic to gain custody. It is not to be used for those purposes. It will come back to bite you.
And judges see this all the time, so I'm sure that they're looking out for it.
Absolutely. I mean, they're definitely questioning it and trying to figure out why somebody would even want it. But yeah, they can read between the lines very well.
We've talked a lot about what it is, how to get it in place, why people have it. How do people heal in order to move forward together without worrying about getting attacked or being verbally attacked, physically attacked, what have you? There's got to be a way to move forward so that it's easier for the children. Obviously, you really don't want them to be exposed to that.
Yeah, and I think, ultimately that time away usually does some good. Again, everyone thinks, well, it's the end all. I got custody, I'm done. Well, no, because now I'm going to go into court, in probate court, and I'm going to get my parenting time. It's going to be a little extra hoops because now I have to go through a third party to to do the exchange, or we have to do it at the police station. So again, you have to think about, is this something that we should be really concerned about? Because what's the impact it's going to have on my children? Some children are like, oh my God, I'm going to the police station. Oh, and again, now with everything going on with immigration, oh my God, we really don't want to go to a police station. So it really kind of depends on what that family dynamic is, whether or not we can have that third party make the exchange, whether or not we can just pick up the children from school. But all of those things are going to either heighten the necessity for the restraining order, or it's going to diminish it to the point that we're okay now. Obviously, again, if we're going into probate court, we're going to say, well, we have to be able to communicate to make these exchanges. Maybe it's through third party contact, maybe it's through a parenting app. So it's those things that are going to at least help you guys to move forward. Is it going to be the end all? No, unfortunately, that's just a matter of time and people starting to realize that they need to grow up.
And typically, I think that time does heal all wounds, as long as they don't keep getting reopened.
That is true.
Is there anything that we missed in the discussion today? I think we covered a lot, but sometimes there might be a specific nugget that you'd like to let us in on.
So I think we talked a lot about how to get it and how long it's in place, but everyone always has a question. Well, okay, great, but what happens when the courts are closed? What happens if it's a holiday or a weekend? The answer is you still have resources. So if it happens on a night or weekend, or the courts are closed for whatever reason, there's an on-call judge 24/7. So in that situation, you're going to call the police. The police are going to call. They're going to put the judge on the phone. You're going to explain your circumstances to the judge. The judge will determine whether or not it's warranted. If it's warranted, you'll have an emergency restraining order and you'll have to go back to a particular court, which is in your jurisdiction, and the judge will tell you that the very next business day. So if it happens on 4th of July and that's on a Friday, then you're not going to go into court until Monday, but you'll go into court that Monday if you want to continue it. So it does give you that ability to do it even off hours.
And that's good to know. I mean, if you need it, you need it. And it's good to know that there's a way to get some protection if anything is going wrong.
Absolutely. And I think, from the opposite end of it is a piece of paper. It has a lot of teeth. It has a lot of teeth. If you violate it and I have a restraining order against you and you come close to me, I get to call the police and then I get to have you arrested. But it's a piece of paper. So unfortunately, if your ex is completely crazy, that doesn't stop them from coming after you. So it's just something to be aware of that, there are definitely ramifications that can ultimately hurt the person who has a restraining order against them and could end up in jail. But by the same token, it's not a foolproof thing.
And thanks everyone for watching. And thank you, Nicole, for coming on the show. We'll see you all next week.